Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Is another day. I made a video last night. That was a Monday. Today is a Tuesday in the flow of existence. It is September the 30th, 2025. In American history, it is 7:06. It is the last day of September 2025. That will go into the history books. And I am waking up to a Tuesday morning. It's still dark outside. It's supposed to be sunny and hot again today, in the 80s, sunshine. So the reason why I come to you this morning is that, as you know, I keep a paper diary. I've been doing that since I started writing when I was in high school. But back in 1968, I was living in Richmond, California, in a foster home. And I started writing. There was a desk in my bedroom. And I started writing. I think I don't know what was the inspiration for doing that, but I started writing back there, but I didn't really write every single day. And then, I was in the 12th grade, John F. Kennedy High in Richmond, California. And I wrote once in a while. And then after I graduated from high school, or then that summer after I graduated from high school, the Lord saved me. You know the story, I won't go into details of my conversion experience. And then I went to a junior college after high school, Contra Costa Junior College. And I had just become a Christian. And I took a class on, I think, psychology. And one of the things you had to do in that class was to keep a diary. And I had just broken up with my girlfriend from high school. We just kind of ended the relationship. I just remember it was just, I suppose, a decision. We were both going different directions. And obviously, I wasn't going to marry the girl. And she was not going to go. I don't know what she was going to do. So, but the point is, I kept a diary. I had to write a diary for that class, the first year I was at Contra Costa Junior College. So I wish I had that diary, because as you all know, when I left California to go to Bible college in 1978, I graduated from high school in 1970. So I burned all those diaries from those early diaries, which I've told those stories here in these videos. But the point is, I really start writing in a diary around, I say, around 1971, 72. And then I really started writing when, in about 1972, I started writing a lot. And I continued to write up until now. And this morning I'm on page 801. And the only diaries I have left are from 1978 until today. And those are all down the lower level in boxes and plastic bins. And so what this video is to make, I know I'm just rambling here, is that I have to prepare my, as you all know, in LiveJournal, which is where I have my online diary, Crooked Fingers, I have 2 communities that are devoted to keeping journals or diaries or notebooks, and I'm the only person that really consistently contributes to those 2 communities. They're called Embodiment and Paperexpressions. Now sometimes I'll come across videos in YouTube, and there's a lot of people who have videos on journal keeping and notebooks and moleskins, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll paste one of those videos in one of those online LiveJournal communities, Embodiment or Paperexpressions. So there are people who subscribe to these channels, and even though they don't contribute. So I do that, and I am, as you know, I'm fascinated with biographies, journals, diaries, autobiographies, notebooks, moleskins, and along that line, I got yesterday my new field notes for I suppose it's autumn. Their fall flowers are on this one. So yeah, I don't, as you know, I don't use these to write in. Our son Josiah, he's into field notes. He did a number of years ago, back I think maybe when he was in college, which is a long time ago, I say at least. He's 43 years old now, probably 23 years ago. I don't know when he started getting the field notes, but then I got into collecting field notes. I collect them, and as you know, I'm collecting them for my son Josiah, that when I die, that he'll inherit them from his dad. So I got field notes. I don't write in them. Some people do. In YouTube, you'll see people who use these to write in, and they're really, you can put them in a pocket. It reminds me of that when Jack Kerouac, the American writer, he always carried around with him a little notebook, and he would jot down things in his little, and you can see photos of them. I have photos of Jack Kerouac's notebooks, his little things he carried around in his pocket. So yeah, I prepare my diary, and this is so what I do is, this is September, and tonight what I'll do before I go to bed, I'll put these away in a plastic bin for the year 2025 down in the lower level. And like I said, I'm on page 801 for the last day of September, which is the 30th, and then I got out October. So what I do, I get these from Staples Office Supply Store. So then what I do, as you all know, I've shown you videos, I rip them out, I rip it out, and then I cut the edges off because it won't fit into the folder. The edges. So then I cut that off, and then I have a clean edge, and then I put them, I'm going to use blue. I try to keep, blue, red, yellow, green, purple, black, white, different. I try to keep not the same color every month. So then once I cut that out, then I have a felt pen, a Sharpie, and then I put on the front the month. Now, I didn't always do this. Over the many years I've been doing diaries, I kept them in different kinds of... Sometimes I kept them in different things. Basically, I've always kept them in kind of like this kind of format in folders. Because in the folders there's little prongs that the paper can fit into. So anyway, I put on the front the month and the year. So it's October. I got really focus here. It's October 2025. See. And once I do that, the reason why I have two folders, as you all know, the first folder is from the 1st of the month into the 15th. And then the second folder is from the 16th into the end of the month. Because I found that I can't put a whole month of paper diaries in one folder. It's just too much. Because I write around 125 pages, sometimes more. So that's why there's two folders. So yeah, so then I have the folders already. Let's see, two folders. And then I take this and then I put it in the front of the folder. You know, everybody has their own method. Some people, like if you watch YouTube, people have all kinds of ways that they keep journals, or you can buy them at office supply stores, or if you go to Barnes and Nobles, they have a whole section of journals, and if you go to any major grocery store, they have moleskins or journals. Journaling is a big thing. Now my wife doesn't keep a journal. See, then it's in here, see? So then what I do is I write, like here, it says here, well, not today, but you'll notice today is the last day, the 30th session at 1 o'clock. I have written down my appointment with my psychologist at 1 o'clock. Then on the 28th of September, I wrote down Carol leaves. She left. And then in October, I have here on the 3rd of October, Carol's back. And then she leaves for Denver, Colorado, Carol, on the 16th of October. She flies out to Denver, Colorado to visit our daughter Bethany and her family, Andy, Louisa, Margaret, Jack, and Nora Jean. And then she's back from Denver on October the 22nd. So then I have my October 2025 diary ready for tomorrow morning when I wake up. Usually, now on the first day of every month, I take a photo. I get my camera and I take a picture of my every new month. The first day of the month, I take a photo of the diary and of the month, and I paste them into my LiveJournal community's Embodiment and Paperexpressions, and also in Crooked Fingers. I take a picture of it. Usually I'll put a book next to it because my online diary, Crooked Fingers, my paper diary, is also a record of my reading life, my intellectual life, my spiritual life, my married life, my family life. Now I'm a grandfather, the life of a stranger in a foreign land, a pilgrim wandering to the heavenly Zion. So sometimes people have kept spiritual diaries where they write down their spiritual development, their spiritual growth. If you watch YouTube, people who are philosophers write down philosophy in their notebooks. There are people who use their journals to write down what they've read, the title of the book, when it was published, who wrote it. Maybe they might even write their reflections of book review. There are people who keep journals who, like my mother-in-law, when she died, my wife got her little journals, and what they were, all she wrote was basically the day, what the weather was that day, and maybe somebody came by the house and visited her. Just one little sentences, that's all she wrote. And some people just write down their day-to-day life, and that's what I do. I just write down my day-to-day life. Like for example, I woke up this morning and I wrote here, September the 30th, 2025. It is 6:53 a.m. Tuesday morning. I got up around 6 o'clock a.m. I could not fall back asleep when I got up the third time to go to the bathroom. So I got up to face my existence. No way of escape. When I came upstairs, I made a pot of coffee, messed with our main computer, ate food for breakfast, eggs and waffles. Now I am writing in my paper diary. The morning goes by. It is still dark outside. It is supposed to be another hot, sunny day in the death flow. Next to me are two books I read last night before going to bed. The Inquisitor, which I still have beside me, The Inquisitor by Hugh Walpole, and Wild Thing, A Life of Paul Gauguin by Sue Pennerex. So that's what I wrote. And then I decided that I'd make this video, because what I do, and I haven't done this consistently over the years, but I'll post this video of preparing my October 2025 paper diary into those two LiveJournal communities, Embodiment and Paperexpressions. That's what I'll do. So, yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I've been doing it, like I said, I'm 73 years old, so I've been doing it for at least, well, I've been married 46 years. So I have at least 47 years, maybe a few writings from maybe 48 years I've been writing that I have still in possession. Now, I burned those diaries from 1968 into about 1977 because I was insane. I wish I never did. I wish I had all my writings, everything I ever wrote. A couple of years ago, I got rid of all my college notes and seminary notes, which I had boxes. I'm kind of like I'm not a hoarder, but I have things going back to when I was in high school. I have coats that I wore when I was in high school, sweaters I wore when I was in high school. I have they're kind of like historical artifacts. That's why, like in my paper diaries, I have these little pockets, and I put things in the pockets. And one thing I do, I save all receipts. Like I got a receipt for my field notes. See, I kept it. I kept the receipt, and I have receipts from Salvation Army, where I went a thrift store, what I paid at Salvation Army. I keep all receipts. I keep receipts. I keep emails. I keep. I copied this. I printed this off from our printer. What this is a description. There is a band called Wednesday, and they have a new album called Bleed, and I really liked the reviewer who wrote a review or a meditation on that album by Wednesday, the album Bleed, and I really liked what she wrote, or the person who wrote this. So I printed it off and I put it in my diary. So I don't know. I do things like that. Another thing I have in here is Reformation Heritage Books are publishing the works of the New England Puritan, the American New England Puritan John Cotton, and I printed off what are those 4 volumes that's coming out in November, and I put them in my diary. I might buy those works. I'm still kind of debating. They're around $300, which is not, to me, unreasonable, because people spend $300 just going out for dinner with their family. You can spend $300 just going downtown and buying 2 pairs of shoes. So I'm still debating about it. I have to call up my money man and get money out if I want to buy those books. So yeah, that's my paper diary. They're all ready. So October 2025, the 1st is tomorrow. Today is the last day of September 2025. Writing in my paper diary. I got a note, I got an email yesterday from, they're called Archaea Press, and they publish Roman Catholic literature. They're very conservative. They go back to the old Catholic Church before Second Vatican. Anyway, the person who translated this, Victor Kushi, he died. See at the bottom there? He translated Ludolf of the Carthusian, The Life of Christ. This is a very famous medieval work. Ludolf the Carthusian lived from 1595 and he died in 1378. And this is just, I have 2 editions of this. I've shown those in past videos. This is the reader's edition of The Life of Christ. This is volume 2. This is volume 1. The other edition was published a couple of years ago, a different translation. That's a 4-volume set. And I bought this edition. But this fellow passed away. He was an Italian. And he was, this was his translation. So I've been reading them off and on I read the 4 volumes once. I showed those over the years when I was making videos. I haven't been reading this edition consistently. I just got them out. There are people out there who are Roman Catholics. This is really good devotional material. If you're a Roman Catholic, or anybody who's interested in medieval spirituality. So yeah, he passed away. I was reading these. What I do when I read these, I read them along with the Reformation commentaries on the Gospels. And I have, in my main study, I have commentaries on the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I have modern commentaries in my study. And so when I'm going through the life of Christ, going through the Gospels, I read these medieval life of Christ, and then I look at Reformation commentaries on the 4 Gospels, and then I look at other books on the life of Christ. So then I immerse myself into the life of Christ, and that's what I'm doing right now in reading Thomas Goodwin, 17th century English Puritan, on Christ the Mediator, and he's going through the life of Christ, looking at him. So I've been doing that. So I thought that's why I share with you this morning, preparing my October 2025 paper diary. Yeah, just one thing, when you keep a diary, don't think of it as some profound thing. Just listen to your inner voice. Speak your heart. Write down, maybe just write it in the presence of God, or leave it as a testimony of God's grace and mercy and love shown to you throughout your life. Or just write it because it's something to enjoy. And it can be therapeutic. It can be a way to get your head together, or think things through, or write out, come to self-knowledge, self-consciousness, self-awareness. Examine your life and see what direction you're going, or write down your sins and what you need to repent of, and write down your prayers, write down your fears, write down what is going on in American history, or your own personal history, or the history of your marriage and of your children and grandchildren, or write down your family history, or write down just what's on your mind at one moment. Well, I'm rambling. This is going on 27 minutes. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Have a good new month in October. And I'll make some more videos probably throughout this week before my wife comes home from her get away with her girlfriends. So may the Lord bless. And until next time, read the Bible, pray. Come quickly, Lord Jesus. Bye.